Hello, everyone, and welcome to TMMC Radio 1. Today, we're going to have a bit of a different podcast as we try to answer some of the questions our audience has asked from different social media platforms based on different sources, such as from experts, personal finance, business, and self help books, and also from my own personal experience. I will be compiling them every now and then and answer in bulk. Feel free to react and share your experiences as well, as we're going to release this in other platforms such as Instagram and YouTube. With that out of the way, let's start with the Q&A. Okay, let's get on with this question. My aunt wants to get a washing machine for 6 months using my credit card. Okay. So for our first question, it doesn't look like a question, but I'm gonna answer or make a comment about it instead. But basically, this is a classic battle between emotions and logic. Perhaps we should get these conditions be met before you say yes. So some of the conditions would be something like the washing machine is a need and not a want. Your aunt doesn't have a son or a daughter who can cover for it. You don't have a debt that's bothering you significantly. You are really close to her, or probably it's a special occasion. So those are the some of the factors that I could think of right now. Well, I know your lovely aunt is going to pay you and all, but saying yes to this once is temptation with her becoming used to it. And guess who's going to do the awkward follow up for payment on the due date? No one else but you, right? Because it's your credit card, it's your statement's due date, it's your debt to the bank, and it's your credit card score that's going to be affected. Okay, next question. How can I lower my credit card expenses? I'm happy for this question because it means that there's an initiative for you to improve your lifestyle and have better peace of mind in terms of your finances. So you got the first step, which is deciding to lower your credit card expense. Next is to do a breakdown of your spending. Which are transactions that you can do without or lessen? It's not an easy task, but the important thing is focusing on progress. Prepare for the time when the statement gets generated, not chasing against the due date. This will put you at the risk to unnecessary penalties such as late charges and finance charges. I had a problem with credit cards back in 2008. I was purchasing different stuff from luxury brands and I succumbed to over-consumerism. I was living beyond my means until I realized that I cannot pay my monthly credit card bills in full. I was only covering the interest, which was killing me while paying for a car loan. In the end, I had to resign from my 8-year job so I can get my retirement pay and pay off all my credit card debt. It was painful, but it was a lesson learned. After that, I had to cut my cards and retain one. Then I had to discipline myself that I will only get what I need, the groceries, pay for the bills. It wasn't easy because I had to change my mindset to make semi-drastic decision making and take the necessary changes, which is my behavior in spending. So you can do away with the following, I would say, categories. First is luxury items. Especially now during this pandemic, you'll most likely stay at home. You don't have anyone to flaunt this with, your bag or your watch. Next is subscriptions that you're not using. You may have forgotten that you have these in your cart. Another is subscriptions that you don't need. If you have a Netflix subscription, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime, you might want to consider selecting just one and subscribe the rest. Your gym membership, are you using it? If you're maximizing it, then keep it. If not, then you decide if you want to start using it or cancel it, I guess. Installments. Stop purchasing that are on installment basis. I think there's a reason why you can't pay it in full. And maybe lastly, expensive restaurants. Consider doing groceries instead or cheaper takeout establishments. I could go on and on, but if you compute for these small improvements, there will be a significant amount to your cost avoidance in the long run. Alright, the next question is, should I focus on debt first or investments? To give you a quick answer in this, I would focus on working on your debt first. Debt is definitely crippling, and you need to clear it out of the way as much as possible. At the same time, you need to avoid having new debt, or else you have just traded one debt for another. Prioritize the one that psychologically bothers you the most. This is commonly the one that has the highest interest. Make sure you don't miss payments on government responsibilities such as taxes, as it will be bothersome with penalties and bureaucracy. Paying full on credit cards instead of just the minimum because interest will drain your income. Once you have cleared short-term debt, then you can look into investments. If you have long-term debt, such as amortization from house or car loans, you would need to look into your cash flow and consider setting aside on a regular basis, so allocate for savings and investments. You cannot wait for 5 years or 15 years to pay off your debt, so before you start investing. Assuming that you don't have an emergency fund yet, your regular savings would help you build your emergency fund, and once you've reached your emergency fund target, then you can work on investments. When you get one-time payments such as bonus, commissions, etc., you can set it aside to use it to pay off your long-term debt. It's really important to clear the path so you can run faster with less hurdles. Okay, what's your view on online subscriptions? These fast-growing subscription services have invaded our pockets for the past decades, and it has been raking in billions of dollars in revenue. I would treat this as purchasing just like an old-school commodity, but remember that you are paying for this passively. I personally consider this the most destructive type of expense because they appear to be small in amount and gets passively charged to your credit card on a regular basis. If it's adding value to you or if you're using it, then I would consider that as you're not really wasting money. It goes back to your cash flow if you can afford it. If it's part of investment such as Adobe Cloud for online business or payment for Google Drive, like increasing 100 gig storage for your online business, then go ahead. But if it's for Netflix, Disney Plus, or any other subscription for entertainment and not helping your investments, then you may need to rethink. For those subscriptions you're not using, then that's easy. Cut it off. The more passive your expenses could get, the more active you need to monitor them. Okay, let's look at this one. I'm in my late 20s and I like to invest, but I don't know where yet. Any advice? Okay, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for having that kind of mindset. You are in your 20s but already thinking of investments, while I was thinking of shopping spree during that age. Anyway, I would assume that you would be in an entry level to intermediate salary during this time, so I would recommend you to get yourself well versed with the money market. Try to understand stocks in general, what ETFs, UITF, mutual funds are. Try to understand your risk appetite and regularly check on that as it evolves as you get familiarized with the money market. You will likely to start with stocks that have conservative yield but less risk until you get more and more used to taking risks with non-blue chips and start doing trending. Anyway, so many terms I have mentioned, but look into starting with stocks. You can also start with small business online that is scalable in parallel. Then you use your earnings from both either create another income stream or consider real estate. It's up to you. There are so many options, but the most important attributes would be grit, curiosity, patience, and resilience. Leverage on your skill set and resources. You may think you don't have, but you look further and start appreciating yourself. But the key here is starting and focusing on progress. Awesome. All right, that's what we have for today. If you want to have your questions get some points of view in this podcast, just ask in any of our social media platform. Feel free to discuss with us by commenting to share your views. We'll have more of these personal finance Q&A, so I'll catch you next time. This was brought to you by TMMC Radio 1.